So in this video tutorial, we are going to be talking about errors that result in the trial balance totals not agreeing, resulting in us creating a suspense account. So a suspense account is opened when there are errors that result in the trial balance totals not agreeing. So the trial balance is the debit and the credit totals, and these two totals should agree, that is, they should be the same. And if they are not the same, then the suspense account is created. There are many reasons why the trial balance totals may not agree, and some of the reasons are incorrect additions in any account, which will result in an incorrect account balance. Thereby, the trial balance total will not agree. Another reason is making an entry on only one side of the account, e.g., a debit but no credit or a credit but no debit. You know that for every transaction, there should be a debit and a credit. So if you enter one that is a debit or a credit only, then the trial balance totals will not agree. Then the third reason is entering a different amount on the debit side from the amount on the credit side. So this also will result in the trial balance totals not agreeing, because you have entered an incorrect amount on one side. Then our last reason is entering two debits or two credits for a transaction. Obviously, this will result in the trial balance totals not agreeing. So now let us work out an example. For example, you are given this trial balance as a 31 December 2019 extract. And you can see that from this extract, you can see that the debit balance is 55,000 and the 49,000 and the credit balance is 49,500. This is after all accounts have been listed, their totals have been listed like this. So you can see from this example that the trial balance totals are not agreeing. So to make the trial balance totals to agree, we then create a suspense account. So the trial balance total should be 55,000 on this side and 55,000 on the credit side. And we can then create a suspense account to make it agree. So on the credit side, where there is the shortfall, you then enter an amount that results in the total being 55,000. So we subtract 55,000 minus 49,500. What is this? It will be 5,500, $5,500 like this. So we created a suspense account in the trial balance to make the trial balance totals agree. We then have to post the suspense account balance into the suspense account. So we create this suspense account. This one in maroon is just a T account, a ledger account. So we post it like this. On the credit side, this is the debit side and this is the credit side. So on the credit side, we enter the date 31 December, then the narration, balance as per trial balance, and we enter 5,500. So this is how the suspense account is created when the trial balance totals are not agreed. If the balance had been a debit balance, we should have written it on the debit side. After we have created the suspense account and the errors are not corrected, at the end of the accounting period, the suspense account balance will be posted in the statement of financial position. So the suspense account balance, if it is a debit balance, it appears on the statement of financial position as an asset. So we post it as an asset in the statement of financial position. If it is a credit balance, we post it as a liability in the statement of financial position. So in our previous example, if you are to look at our previous example, this 5,500 balance will be posted as a current liability in our statement of financial position. So to correct the errors, if we investigate and find the errors, how do we correct the errors? That is correction of errors. Correction is done in the journal and then posted to the ledger account. So after finding the errors, we post them in the journal, then post to the ledger account. So let us now work out an example. This is our example. Your bookkeeper extracted a trial balance on 31 December 2016, which failed to agree by $860. A shortage on the credit side of the trial balance. A suspense account was opened for the difference. In January 2017, the following errors made in 2016 were found. A sales daybook had been undercast by $1,205. B rent account had been undercast by $404. C discounts allowed account had been overcast by $59. You are required to A show the journal entries necessary to correct the errors, and then B draw up the suspense account after the errors described have been corrected. So now let us work out this example. We'll start by showing the journal entries to correct the errors. The screen on the right side is where we are going to type in our answer. So our question, this is our question. So the journal has these columns, that is the details column, the debit and the credit column. So the first error is sales daybook had been undercast by 1,205. And if the sales daybook had been undercast, it means that the sales had been understated. So we have to add 1,205 to the sales. And we know that the sales have a credit balance in the trial balance. So to add 1,205, we debit suspense and credit sales. So this is how we post it. Sales, sorry, we debit suspense. So we'll start with suspense. Suspense is debit side. That is how we post in the journal. We start with the debit entry 1,205. Then we credit sales with 1,205. Then we write our narration. Sales that had been undercast corrected, like that. Then we proceed to the next error. Rent account had been undercast by $404. And rent is an expense. An expense has a debit balance. So if the rent had been undercast, it had been understated. So to correct this, we have to debit the expense account, that is the rent account, and credit suspense. Rent 404. Then we credit suspense 404. Then we write our narration. Rent that had been undercast corrected. And then we proceed to the last error. Discount allowed account had been overcast by $59. And we know that discounts allowed are an expense. And if they say they had been overcast, it means they had been overstated. So we need to reduce the discount allowed by $59. And since expenses have debit balances, to reduce this amount, we have to credit the discount allowed with $59. So we debit suspense with $59, and credit discount allowed with $59. Then we write our narration. Discount allowed that had been overcast, now corrected, like this. So after entering, we then proceed to part B. Draw up the suspense account after the errors described have been corrected. Now the errors have been corrected, we now need to draw up the suspense account. And from our question, we had that the suspense account had a balance of $860. That was on the credit side. So the balance, that is the suspense account balance as per trial balance, it was 860. So we then just enter these sales 1,250. We enter it on the debit side. Sales, since here it's on the debit 1205, so 1205. Then rent is on the credit side, rent 404. Then next, discount allowed is on the debit side, discount allowed on the debit side $59. $59. Now we then add the debits first, then the credit. So if we add this, it becomes 1264. And if we add this side, it also becomes 1264. And we can see that the suspense account is balanced out. Both debit and the credit side add up to 1264. So the suspense account no longer has a balance. We have corrected all the errors that affect the trial balance. So this is how you work out any question that has the errors that affect the trial balance. If you are told to draw up the journal entries and then post to the suspense account. Thank you for watching my video. May you please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Free Tutorials ZW, for more video tutorials.